We are Team 2, TEDActive 2014, the 30th celebration anniversary in Whistler, British Columbia. The presentation will be by Kirsten White, Adrian Laster, and Annika Rosen. TED is owned by Chris Anderson, who is also the founder of the Sapling Foundation. TED runs under the nonprofit tax code of 501c3 as an organization that is both charitable, scientific, and educational. TED conferences and TED are ADA compliant. Purchasing a TED conference ticket requires membership, which can be upwards of $125,000 per year. Each conference costs about $5,000 to $7,500. Unfortunately, in the past couple years, the top paid TED employees have made over $1 million. TED's mission is simply spreading ideas. Through the past 30 years, TED conferences bring together the world's leading thinkers and doers in technology, entertainment, and design, help spreading their ideas in under 18 minutes. TED's vision during TEDActive is to quickly bring together the world's industry leaders to help build ideas and invest in those ideas as quickly as possible. These are elite men and women looking for businesses and owners alike to invest in each other's ideas and opportunities. TED's long-term goal is to continue to sponsor and excite industry leaders by offering 2 large conferences every year, including TEDActive. Free TED Talks online will remain as TED spreads ideas. Continuing to offer licenses to allow others to operate under the TED name will also help gain viewership, including online partial and full audience attendance to conferences. Chris Anderson is the curator of TED, stationed in New York City. Catherine McCartney is the operations director in Vancouver, acting as their curator. There are many directors that also work underneath Chris Anderson and Catherine McCartney, but because the organization is very organic, it's hard to tell who does what and when. The 2 main TED conferences are held at the same time every year, TEDActive and TED Conference. TED is gaining popularity, though, in the younger crowd and in Generation Y, using technology as the main motivator. Although TED is privately owned, so we cannot actually view their trends. Memberships range from $995 to $125,000 yearly. Memberships also include a tax deduction. Conferences usually range from $800 to $15,000 for an actual ticket, but can only be bought by members. Picha Kucha is TED's top competitor. They're known for their simple format of 20 slides, each for 20 seconds. Meetings are held at random, mainly in bars, studios, clubs, quarries, doesn't matter. Everyone is allowed to present about any topic, and events only cost about $5 per person. Picha Kucha nights happen in any city as long as there is an informal promise that they will host 4 events yearly. Online viewing, just like TED, has no charge, and it's all of their presentations. TED consumers and users are experiencing the conference as it happens because it's an expiring good. It is also an experience and therefore is an intangible good. The demographics of the people who come are usually young, intelligent, and resourceful, well-educated, and have attended or are attending Ivy League colleges, and are dedicated businessmen and women in pursuit of higher profits and higher thinking. They will most likely be extroverts because they will be there marketing themselves and able to talk to other people to invest in their ideas as well. They're also very loyal to TED. Although we cannot see TED's active sales trends, we can assume that due to the long wait list, TEDActive has a high retention rate, and to bypass this wait list, members must fork up more money.
The SWOT analysis. Some of the strengths about TEDActive is that it's been around for 30 years and has shown expansion through adding more talks, performances at each conference, and the 24 partners that it currently has. The weaknesses are that if the speakers do not match the needs of the attendees, the conference can turn out disastrous. One of the opportunities that TED has is that they can grant more than $10 million to help organizations that focus on global public health, poverty alleviation, and biodiversity. The threats come from external companies that could be similar to TED. The opportunity analysis and problems. Some of the opportunities that TED has is that they can add more conferences around the world and lower costs so that more people can attend, and adding more partners and utilizing their current ones would increase consumer loyalty. The problems are that the conferences are at the same time, which limits the audience that's able to attend, and also TED is not advertised well, so they should use the partners in order to gain more customers. Marketing objectives and strategies. One of the objectives that we decide for TEDactive is that they should advertise that they are a platform for investors and investees to come together to share their ideas, thoughts, and experiences with each other and learn from them. The strategies used to obtain this objective is first, advertise the startup company to prospective partners. Second, TEDactive needs to be marketed globally by offering grants and accepting donations. And third, open up the idea sharing website, stop offering the grants, and begin the conferences around the globe. TEDactive can be segmented into many parts, including the consumers that just watch the videos, the consumers that watch the videos and go to the conferences, the company partners, sponsors, and donors. TEDactive can channel their efforts on these individual groups so that they can meet the distinct needs of each market segment. Since TED is a relatively large company and the market segments are similar, they have the resources to choose more than one segment to target. As a group, we decided that TEDactive should target the company partners and the customers that attend the two conferences and watch videos that are posted. TEDactive has a competitive advantage over other events because 1. It is the only one of its kind. 2. It offers the world's leading innovators, designers, creators, and manufacturers knowledge of tomorrow's problem-solving products with TED Talks. And 3. It's the largest of the conference-style online talks. Positioning and branding. The market position that consumers will view TED as will be a website where they can view and share ideas with the world for free. TED can position their idea sharing website on the fact that it is a free and convenient service. TED would be branded as an award-winning idea sharing website that is free to consumers and brings people together from all over the world.
Now we go on to product. The TED products are the 18-minute talks given. The TED Talk format has been slightly modified based on what the conference is about, such as TEDactive, TED Women, TED India, TED Global. They're given by exceptional individuals about exceptional ideas in the TED market. So it would be technology, entertainment, and design. We would not suggest any improvements or any deletions on what they have already. We would suggest some extensions, including a TED student conference, potentially, which would be a little cheaper. The conferences are quite expensive, even for students, and we would also place a much greater emphasis placed on TEDactive. The first is their website. With recordings of a vast majority of their talks, it is available to anyone with internet access. The second is how the annual conference is in one geographic location, but has a virtual sister conference, TEDactive, in a separate location. The third is the TEDx events, which only happen when instigated by a third-party host. This ensures community interest, which eliminates much risk associated with new events for TED. For channels, it is important to note that TED overall has a vertical marketing system format, whereas the TEDactive events follow much more of the conventional marketing channel model, where TED will do almost all of the marketing and selling points of the event using the TED name, but the sponsor will fulfill much of the role of the retailer. TED registrations range anywhere between $800 and $15,000. This ticketing was originally priced this way to ensure the future of TED, but now remains high in order to maintain product value. Promotionally, TED relies heavily on the viral quality of their product. Most people hear about TED because a talk was shared with them by a family member or friend. TED also utilizes social media very effectively, with over 2 million followers on Twitter and 3 million on Facebook. They partner with many big brand names and are excellent direct marketers, using the connections they have with their speakers to gain access to exactly the audience they're looking for. TED's budget is a hybrid of a basic conference and an association. The revenue comes from both membership fees and registrations. This revenue is spent very intentionally. It obviously goes into paying for future conferences and running TED, but also funds many initiatives, as well as the TED Prize, an award given annually to fund the efforts of the nominated innovator. For scheduling, TED has held 2 annual conferences since 2005. The first is always held in Palm Springs in the summer, with TEDactive, its virtual counterpart, somewhere else. The second, TED Global, is held in the fall, this coming year in Rio. This dual scheduling component eliminates many time-sensitive boundaries attendees may have had. In order to evaluate the success of our extra promotional efforts for TEDactive, we would cross-reference next year's TEDactive surveys from attendees in the past. Comparatively, we would look for an increase in overall event satisfaction, more variety in reported avenues through which attendees learned of TEDactive, and a higher revenue stream through TEDactive memberships and registration.